What's going on, Evenant? Big Jer here. Today, I'm going to be introducing you guys to one of my favorite synths, Xfer's Serum. Okay, let's take a look at it together. Now, all synths are going to have their own kind of style or sound, but they're also all going to kind of follow the same rules. So, if you understand one synth, in a sense, you kind of get them all. But again, they all have their own sound, so that's why you might prefer one over another. Now, at first, Serum might look a little bit intimidating to you. Okay, but that's where I'm here to help you feel a little more comfortable with it. So all synths are going to have an oscillator section. Let's take a look at what makes Serum special about their oscillator section. So first of all, they start out with two main oscillators, A and B. Now these are wavetable oscillators. We're going to get to that in just a second. Now, one cool thing about Serum is it has a dedicated sub oscillator. So right here, you can turn it on and it will have an oscillator just dedicated for a sub, which is kind of unique. Right underneath of it, we've got our noise oscillator. Turn that on here, and we're going to get a little bit deeper into both of these in just a bit. But first, let's start out with our main sound source, and that's usually going to be our oscillators, A and B. Now, we just got done saying that these are wavetable oscillators. So what does that mean? What is a wavetable? What is a waveform? Okay, so we can go ahead, let's just start at the top, right? So you go ahead and turn them on and off right here. Now, when they are turned off, they will save CPU. So keep that in mind. If you're not using it, might as well turn it off. Cool. So as we come down, we can see what wavetable are we using. Now, in this case, is this a wavetable? So this is a two-dimensional view, okay? If I click on this, I get myself the three-dimensional view of the wavetable, right? But this isn't a wavetable. This is just a waveform. You can see it right here, single waveform. Now, if I take my mouse and I click on where it says default, I could drop down a menu where I could find a bunch of different wavetables. Now, you may have just the ones that come with Serum, or like me, you may have some third-party ones, or you may even have some custom ones. We'll get to that in a bit. So let's go ahead and look at, well, I think we all have the digital ones. So let's go ahead into the digital ones, and let's go up into iCan has kick, okay? Let's go ahead and click on that, and you'll see it loads in a wavetable. Now, the difference you can see here, this wavetable goes all the way back, and if you, it is on the first frame. This is what you're seeing as the first frame, but that's just, you can see the line right here, right? But the first knob I guess we could look at is the WT position, right? So the wavetable position. Now this is the wavetable, right? So this will move us through the wavetable here, okay? Now notice when I hit a key, okay, I'm not getting a sound, right? Well, that's because this beginning part of the wavetable, look, it doesn't really even have a sound. As I move through, look, I'll keep it on a 2D view. I'm gonna press a button. Okay, you can see I'm pressing the button here, but we're not hearing anything. So as I move my knob through the wavetable, you can see it's gonna bend that wavetable, right? All right, there it is, right? And I'll put it in this view too. Okay. So that's a wavetable. Now we have, geez, hundreds, if not thousands of wavetables can be made. I mean, have been made, but infinite can be made, because I'll be showing you guys in a later video how to really take any sound source and make it into your own custom wavetable. And again, this is one of the things that makes Serum so amazing, where no other synth can do that. I don't think. You guys can call me out if you want. Now remember, oscillator A and oscillator B are going to be mirror copies of each other. Okay, so what I tell you about A, you just have two of them. And that'll be good for mixing sounds later. But let's focus in on oscillator A. Now we know where we could find our waveforms here, or our wavetables. But let's take a look at these guys here. So I can also, right here, take it up or down an octave. Now that just means in pitch, higher or lower. So, well, by 12 semitones actually. Cool. Now we can move by octave, or we can move by semitones. We can also move by cents, right? Because there's 100 cents in a semitone, right? So there's 12 semitones in an octave and 100 cents in a semitone. So these are good for like little tiny bends, or just getting that micro, get it just tuned exactly to the way you want it. And then you have the chorus. Now, these are a lot of different ways to control the pitch, right? Why are there so many? Well, you might want to automate your octaves to jump up or down. You might want to tune it to a different note with semitones. And these are going to be for fine-tune adjustments. And then you also might want to automate the chorus to do some pitch bends, where if you automated, octave or semitones, you're going to hear the jump go up by each movement. But the chorus is a smooth tuning, and that'll be good for pitch bends. Now, right below the wavetable display, you've got your unison. Now, right now, this is just playing back one wavetable, or just one wavetable as I move through it. Now, if I add 2, notice that we're going to get 2. And they sound a bit detuned, right? So that's perfect for this detune knob right next to us. You can now see the 2 copies of the wavetable that we have there. And as I move them closer together, they're going to get more in tune. As I move them further away, they get less in tune. Sounds pretty good right there. This blend mode is going to blend the side voices with the middle voice. Now, in this situation, we don't have a middle voice. Let's add a third unison. Now we have a middle voice. You can see how we can blend more center focus and more wide focus. Cool. This phase knob will dictate the start point of the waveform. So if I click to my 2D mode, you can see if I grab this guy, where I'm going to start here, okay? Where in the cycle I'm going to start. So this next button here adds a little bit of randomness to it. So you can see it's got a yellow type of a box that's happening there. That just means that it'll randomly hit anywhere in that box. You could decide to narrow that box, keep it the same, or get rid of it and be specific about where you want to set your start point. Totally up to you and totally up to the type of sound that you're trying to create. Great. Well, we know what's going on with the wavetable position here. Okay, and this is going to be our bend modes. Now, I'm not going to cover each of these bend modes, but basically what they are is a way to alter or manipulate the existing wavetable. So if I add a little bit of a symmetry to it, you can see how it bends it a little bit to the left, right? And that's just one thing that I could do to it. There's a lot of different options that we could use to manipulate our sound even further. Now, next to that, you've got pan and level, and I believe you guys already know what they do. I wanted to finish up the oscillator section by going a little bit deeper into the sub and noise oscillator. Let me turn off the oscillator A so we can go ahead and listen to what these guys are doing. Now, the sub oscillator is, like I said before, a dedicated sub oscillator. So you've got yourself a couple of different waveforms to choose from here, okay? We've got our pure sine wave, we've got a little bit of a squared top, triangle, up into the pulsars, and even a little bit of a square wave there, okay? Now this direct output, okay, is going to skip our filter and effects. So if we have filters and effects applied to our oscillators here, you could choose to send the sub out pure, and that's kind of what a sub should be anyway, as pure as possible. You've got your octave right here, and as you can hear, I can go ahead and switch the oscillators. Now this oscillator you might not even hear unless you have some good headphones or a sub actually there. Let me bring it up another octave here. Now that's not bad, you probably hear that. And as I move through them, you can hear the difference. Great. I'm going to turn that one off. I'm going to go over here to my noise oscillator. And basically what this is a simple sampler. I'm going to turn it on, and if I click into here, you can see you've got a bunch of samples already loaded for you. You've got analog samples, you've got some kicks, you've even got custom ones if you want. This is one that I've loaded myself. It's a little bit of a percussion hit. Okay, let's take a listen to some others. We've got, by going to organics, you can get yourself some air cans. That'll be good for adding some white noise. You've got, Cymatics or Virtual Riot down here. You could have a bunch of third-party ones or ones from packs that you've bought or whatever. You could even have ones that you load in for yourself. Now, you got one-shot mode here. Now this is going to key it to a keyboard. So once I put this on, it'll follow the pitch of, all the other oscillators I have going, and if I'm doing pitch bends or something like that, it'll apply that to my noise as well, which is pretty dope. Next to that, again, you've got pan and level like you would assume. Now, phase and random are sort of like what happens over here in the sense that, random will just apply some randomness, and phase will be, where the playhead is. Where will the start of the sample be? So if we go back to the, little hit I have here, let's bring it in. Now, if I just move through it, you can see how this is playing more toward the end of it, and that's back to the beginning of the sound. Great. So that's going to be our oscillator section. Join me in the next video where we go into the modulation section.